Personally, I think it's political persecution. I think they're trying to make an example and try to stop us from continuing to stand up and support each other, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We're going to keep doing this until we're all free.
Sydney Fizzard for Rebel News, and today we are here at a barbecue event that has gathered local supporters for the 4 men who have been charged with conspiracy near the town of Coutts. You may recall the Coutts Blockade as it was one of the largest demonstrations to ever take place in Alberta, and it was pointed directly against the vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions that had been permitted by the likes of Premier Jason Kenney and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The blockade lasted 18 days and saw tens of thousands of Albertans show up to peacefully demonstrate at the Coutts Blockade and the adjacent Milk River demonstrations taking place just up the road. Consequently, during that same time frame between January 29th and February 15th, there was a multitude of decentralized blockades happening across the province. Yet allegations of its organization and its key participants and leadership continue to be called into question, even though it came at a time where the entire country was demonstrating against vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions. If you want to find out more about the first week of this unprecedented event, go to truckerdocumentary.com. The Alberta RCMP say they became aware of a small organized group within the large demonstrations that were taking place in the area and suggested these individuals had some form of extremist ideology. The execution of warrants on February 13th and 14th followed their investigation, which resulted in the arrest and detainment of 13 individuals. And as a result, 13 long guns, 2 handguns, body armor, and some other items were seized in this execution of warrants. Many question not only the validity of these charges, but also the character assessment of the 4 individuals who were charged with conspiracy. But because this matter is still before the courts and because there is a publication ban preventing much of the information related to these matters from being revealed to the general public, there is still a lot we don't know about the situation. As we heard from the mayor of Coutts recently, who was the mayor at the time,
what I heard from the convoy people was they thought that the guns possibly had been planted.
Now, regardless of the charges and the revealing of weapons, because of the allegation of extremism and because of the modus operandi these weapons were associated with, the Coutts Blockade supporters decided to end demonstrations thereafter, so as not to be associated with any potential extremism that may have been present. As mentioned, we went to a barbecue event supporting the 4 individuals who have now been charged with conspiracy. And we found out from those in attendance why they would come and what their thoughts were on these accusations. But before we jump into the interviews, I want to show you what it was like on the ground in Coutts as these execution of warrants were taking place. And then we'll hear from those who believe there's more to the story than just a charge of conspiracy. Sorry there. We stand on guard for thee. Just witnessed tactical units come in. There was a truck, a semi-truck, as well as a tractor that got pulled away from the scene. They're actually right behind me here at the border crossing. So I believe what I've heard is that 2 people got arrested.
Yeah, for sure you can keep walking that. Don't go anywhere close here, okay?
Yeah, I'll stay on this side.
So a search warrant was conducted last night it was at approximately midnight, 12:30, where 3 trailers associated to a group that had arrived separate to the original protesters, but ended up being a part of this whole situation. And this group, we conducted a search warrant into 3 trailers associated to them, resulting in the seizure of weapons, firearms, ammunition, as well as body-worn armor that would normally be a police issue.
Good afternoon. After the events of yesterday and the news released that the RCMP made arrests and come forward with, and the arrests resulted in firearms, handguns, and protective equipment being unearthed, we as the Coutts Convoy have decided that as a peaceful protest and to maintain that narrative, we will be rolling out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
We cannot and will not allow illegal and dangerous activities to continue. The Emergencies Act will also allow the government to make sure essential services are rendered, for example, in order to tow vehicles blocking roads.
First, if I could just ask, what's brought you out here today?
I'm a supporter of all of this that's been going on and the movement we've got here. And I just wanted to make sure I was here to, hear what was happening and offer support.
We came from Saskatoon to support the boys.
It's barbecue raising funds for the legal fees.
We came here to support 4 men who are taking the brunt of punishment for something they shouldn't be punished for. I understand people donated their space, their food, their time, and the bucket's filling up with some money for these people. We have the guts to come sit out here. The 4 guys didn't know they'd be the ones picked off to be made an example of.
And did you know that there were firearms amongst the protesters?
No.
Had you ever heard of this plot to shoot RCMP officers that they're being alleged to have, planned?
No.
There's a lot of accusations, I guess you could say, from the mainstream media of terrorists, of extremists. That's being the label that they've put on a lot of the Coutts Blockade demonstrators, as well as most of the demonstrators like the Freedom Convoy individuals as well.
I think it's crap because I was out there because I had numerous family members fighting for this country in World War I and World War II. And our veterans don't have a voice. And I was out there as their voice because of a proud relative of family that served for this country, fought and died for this country. And I've been to the U.S. quite a bit, and it's night and day on how we treat the veterans.
It's stories. There's so much lies. Person really doesn't even know who to trust anymore because Trudeau has really scared the people so bad, really. I've been following the inquiries, and nobody seems to be telling any stories about how the locals mistreated people. It's how, the truckers, we were ripping masks off people's faces. Not ever. We wouldn't put masks on when we were asked to put masks on going in anywhere. We were never asked. I don't know where they're getting their stories from. That's why I'm saying there's so much lies.
I have to say it's just BS. It's somebody trying to stir up problems and give this sort of a movement a bad name.
If I could ask, what is the movement?
It's a movement to support freedom of expression, freedom of choice, and support for people who've been handled wrongly in the system.
I have never felt so much love. I'm going to get emotional. So much love and support, and just after coming from years of feeling isolation, this family that we have built here, you see a Canadian flag and you know that person is your family now.
Can I ask, what is that message? That
It's just a message of unity and being there for each other.
And then during the Coutts protest, was there any violence?
No.
Was it a peaceful protest?
Absolutely.
Were there families there?
Yes.
Did you observe any kids playing road hockey?
Sure did.
So one could state that it was a very Canadian protest.
It was, yeah.
What do you think of the denial of bail for the 4 individuals who were charged with conspiracy?
I think it's the Canadian government working against people that want to be free, and we have no rights here. As long as Justin Trudeau is Prime Minister of Canada, we'll never have rights.
Personally, I think it's political persecution. I think they're trying to make an example and try to stop us from continuing to stand up and support each other, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We're going to keep doing this until we're all free.
That is totally political. It's all about trying to make an example of somebody, and of course, there's a large number of people that tend to believe whatever they're told from an official source,
And so if they hear that this is bad, it's bad in their eyes.
Thank you all for sticking to the end. For Rebel News, Sydney Fizzard. RebelInvestigates.com is where you have to go if you want to see more of our coverage of the 4 men charged with conspiracy near the town of Coutts.